Listen up, because I'm about to expose one of the most manipulative tactics women use in relationships. And most men don't even realize it's happening. You're sitting there having a nice conversation with your girlfriend. Everything's going great, and then she drops it. My ex used to take me to this restaurant. My ex was really good at fixing things. My ex bought me this necklace. And you feel that, not in your stomach, that little spike of jealousy or insecurity. But you don't say anything because you don't want to seem insecure. Congratulations, you just failed her test. And before all the women in the comments start typing, "I would never do that," or "That's not why we mention exes," save it. I've talked to hundreds of women about this. I've seen it play out thousands of times. And the ones who are honest, the ones who'll actually admit it when the cameras are off, they all say the same thing. Yeah, we mention our exes on purpose. And yeah, we're watching to see how you react. So let me break down exactly what's happening here, why women do this, what they're testing for, and most importantly, how you should respond. Because the way you handle this determines whether she sees you as high value, or just another guy she can manipulate. The psychology behind the ex mention. First, let's understand what's actually happening when she brings up her ex. It's not accidental. It's not just casual conversation. It's a calculated move, even if she's not consciously aware she's doing it. Women have been trained by evolution and social conditioning to test men constantly. They need to know if you're strong enough, confident enough, and secure enough to handle competition, real or imagined. When she mentions her ex, she's creating artificial competition. She's introducing another man into your relationship space to see how you'll react. Will you get jealous and insecure? Will you try to compete? Will you get angry? Or will you remain unfazed and confident? Your reaction tells her everything she needs to know about your value and your frame. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Women needed to ensure they were choosing the strongest, most confident mate. The man who could defend against threats, who wouldn't crumble under pressure, who had options of his own and didn't need her validation. So they developed testing mechanisms. And mentioning the ex is one of the most common tests in the modern dating playbook. Test number 1, the jealousy test. This is the most obvious one. She mentions her ex to see if you'll get jealous. And here's the trap. If you show jealousy, you lose. If you show no reaction at all, you might also lose. You need to hit that sweet spot of "I heard you, I'm not threatened, and I'm not playing your game." I had a friend. Let's call him Marcus. He was dating this girl Sarah for about 3 months. Everything was going great until she started dropping ex-boyfriend references constantly. My ex was so spontaneous, he'd surprise me with trips. My ex loved this band. We saw them 5 times. My ex was really into fitness. Marcus started getting visibly uncomfortable. He'd tense up, change the subject quickly, or try to one-up the ex. "Well, I could take you on trips too. I could get into fitness if you want." He was basically admitting that the ex was a threat, that he needed to compete. And you know what happened? She lost respect for him. Within a month, she broke up with him. Said she didn't feel the spark anymore. What she really meant was he failed the test. He showed her he was insecure, that he could be emotionally manipulated, that he saw himself as lesser than her ex. And women don't respect men they can manipulate. Test number 2, the comparison test. This one's more subtle. She's not just mentioning the ex, she's comparing you to him. Sometimes favorably. "You're so much better at communication than my ex." Sometimes unfavorably. "My ex was really ambitious." Either way, she's putting you in competition with a ghost. And here's what most men don't understand. Even when the comparison is favorable, it's still a test. She's watching to see if you need her validation. If you light up when she says you're better than her ex, you've revealed that you care about her approval. You've shown that being chosen over another man matters to you. And that gives her power. I knew this guy. Let's call him David. Smart dude, successful, good-looking. Started dating this woman, who constantly compared him to her ex. "You're so much more mature than my ex. My ex was jealous. But you're so secure. I'm so glad you're nothing like my ex." David ate it up. He loved hearing he was better. It validated him. But what he didn't realize was that every time he visibly appreciated those comparisons, he was handing her leverage. She learned she could control his emotions by praising him relative to her ex. And eventually, she started using that leverage. Whenever she wanted something, she'd throw in a comparison. "Can you help me move?" My ex never helped with practical things, and David would jump because he needed to maintain his position as better than the ex. Test number 3, the emotional availability test. Sometimes she mentions the ex in an emotional context. My ex really hurt me. I had trust issues after my ex. My ex cheated on me. This seems like she's being vulnerable, opening up about her past. But it's also a test. She's watching to see if you'll become her therapist, if you'll try to fix her, if you'll overcompensate to prove you're different. And if you do any of those things, you've failed. Because you've accepted the frame that you need to prove yourself against the specter of her failed relationship. Real talk, her ex is not your problem. Her trauma from past relationships is not your responsibility to heal. If she's genuinely not over her ex, or still dealing with serious trust issues, she's not ready for a relationship with you. And by trying to be her emotional support animal regarding her ex, you're basically accepting a subordinate role where you have to constantly prove you're worthy, compared to the man who came before. I've seen guys fall into this trap hard. They hear about the toxic ex, the cheating ex, the abusive ex, and they go into hero mode. I would never do that to you. I'll show you what a real man is. You can trust me. Basically, begging to be compared favorably. And women see right through it. They know you're trying too hard, which means you're not high value. You're just desperate to differentiate yourself. Test number 4. The lingering connection test. This is the most insidious one. She mentions her ex, not just as a memory, but as an ongoing presence. My ex texted me today. My ex wants to grab coffee. My ex asked how I was doing. Now she's not just testing your jealousy. She's testing your boundaries. Will you accept that she maintains contact with an ex? Will you say something? Will you set a boundary? And here's the minefield. If you try to control her and say she can't talk to her ex, you're controlling and insecure. If you say nothing, you're a pushover who doesn't value himself enough to have standards. This happened to my cousin. He was dating this girl who stayed friends with her ex. They'd text regularly, occasionally grab lunch. The whole "we're mature adults who can be friends" thing. My cousin didn't say anything because he didn't want to be that guy. The jealous boyfriend who can't handle his girl having male friends. But it ate him alive inside. Every time she mentioned grabbing coffee with her ex, he'd feel sick. Every text notification made him wonder if it was the ex. The relationship became torture. And when he finally said something, months later, she accused him of suddenly becoming controlling. You were fine with it before. Why is it a problem now? Here's the reality. She was testing whether he had boundaries. And by not saying anything initially, he failed. Then by bringing it up later, after bottling it up, he failed again because now he looked weak and reactive, rather than confident and proactive. What she's really testing for. All these tests boil down to a few core questions she's trying to answer. 1. Are you secure in yourself? Do you need her validation? Or are you confident, regardless of what she says or does? 2. Can you hold your frame? When she tries to shake you emotionally, do you stay grounded, or do you react based on her stimulus? 3. Do you have options? Are you with her because she's your best option, or because you chose her from multiple options? 4. Are you high valued? Does she need to work to keep you, or do you need to work to keep her? And the brutal truth is this. Most men fail these tests because they don't even realize they're being tested. They think she's just making conversation, or being honest about her past. They don't see the manipulation underneath, the wrong ways to respond. Let me tell you what not to do, because I've seen men destroy relationships by handling this poorly. Don't get visibly jealous or upset. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who gets triggered by the mention of an ex. It screams insecurity and low value. Don't try to compete with the ex. Well, I can do that too, or I'm better than him, and that makes you look desperate. You're accepting the frame that you need to measure up. Don't ask questions about the ex. How long were you together? What did he do? Why did it end? You're showing way too much interest in your competition. You're basically asking her to tell you more about another man, which is pathetic. Don't try to be the opposite of the ex. If she says her ex was controlling, and you go out of your way to be super permissive, you're still operating in his shadow. You're defining yourself relative to him, rather than being your authentic self. Don't ignore it and pretend it didn't bother you when it clearly did. Women can read emotions. If you're seething inside but saying that's cool, she knows, and now you're both triggered and dishonest, which is the worst combination. The right way to respond. So what should you do? How do you pass these tests? Here's the framework. 1. Acknowledge without emotion. She mentions her ex. You respond with cool or okay and move on. No drama, no jealousy, no questions. You heard her, you're not fazed. Next topic. This communicates that other men aren't threats to you because you're secure in your own value. 2. Redirect without being obvious. She brings up her ex. You acknowledge briefly, and then shift the conversation to something else. Yeah, that's nice. Hey, speaking of restaurants, I found this new place we should try. You're not avoiding the topic out of fear. You're just not interested in dwelling on it, because it's not important to you. 3. Flip the frame occasionally. If she's really pushing it, you can flip the script. You mention your ex a lot. Are you still into him? Now you've turned her test into a question about her, and most women will immediately backtrack. No, of course not. I was just saying ... double quotes, and now she's the one who feels like she needs to prove something. 4. Set boundaries when necessary. If she's maintaining inappropriate contact with an ex or constantly bringing him up, you address it directly but calmly. I'm not comfortable with how much you talk about your ex. If he's still relevant in your life, we might not be compatible. You're not controlling her. You're simply stating your standards and being willing to walk away if they're not met. 5. Have abundance mentality. The ultimate defense against these tests is genuinely not caring because you have options. When you know you could walk away and be fine, her tests lose their power. You're not desperately trying to pass, you're just being yourself. And if she doesn't like it, there are other women. Why she loses respect when you fail. Here's what men need to understand. When you fail these tests, she doesn't just think less of you intellectually. She loses attraction on a visceral, biological level. Her lizard brain sees a man who can be manipulated and immediately categorizes you as low value. Women are attracted to men who have frame, who can't be shaken, who don't need validation. When you react to her ex mentions with jealousy or insecurity, you've shown you're shakeable. You've revealed that she has power over your emotions. And women don't want that power. They want a man who's unshakable. It's counterintuitive, but true. Women test you hoping you'll pass. They want you to be strong. When you fail, they're disappointed, even if they're the ones who set the trap. It's like they're asking, are you really the man I think you are? And when the answer is no, they lose attraction. The meta test, recognizing the test itself. Here's the advanced move. Sometimes, the highest value response is calling out the test. If you can recognize she's testing you and address it with amused mastery, you've demonstrated the ultimate frame control. Are you bringing up your ex to see if I'll get jealous? That's cute. Say it with a smirk, not with anger. You've just shown you see through her game, and you're not playing. Most women will either laugh and admit it, or deny it, while respecting you more for calling it out. But you can only do this if you're genuinely amused, not butthurt. If there's any edge in your voice, any real anger or insecurity, it backfires. You have to be at a place where her tests are entertaining to you, rather than threatening. When it's not a test. Now, real talk. Sometimes she mentions her ex, and it's not a test. Sometimes it's just conversation or context. I went to this restaurant with my ex 3 years ago might just be her remembering the place, not testing you. The difference is frequency and context. If she mentions her ex once in a while as part of normal storytelling, that's probably innocent. If she's dropping ex references constantly, especially in ways designed to create comparison or elicit reaction, that's testing. And honestly, even if it's not a conscious test, responding with strength and security is still the right move. Whether she's manipulating you or just making conversation, the frame remains the same. You're a high-value man who isn't threatened by the ghosts of her past. What to do if she fails your test? Because here's the thing. You should be testing her too. How she handles you not reacting to her ex mentions tells you a lot. Does she escalate when you don't take the bait? Does she bring him up more frequently trying to get a reaction? That's a red flag. She's more invested in playing games than building a relationship. Does she respect your boundaries when you set them? Or does she gaslight you for having standards? A quality woman will appreciate a man with frame. A manipulative woman will try to break it down. I had a girl try this on me once. Kept mentioning her ex, how successful he was, how he spoiled her. I'd just nod and change the subject. She escalated, started bringing him up more, telling me specific things he did. I finally said, sounds like you miss him. Maybe you should reach out. She got mad. I'm just trying to be open with you. I replied, I'm not interested in competing with memories. If you're over him, act like it. If you're not, let me know and we can end this now. She respected it. Stopped mentioning him. Later admitted she was testing to see if I'd get jealous like her previous boyfriends. The fact that I didn't made her want me more. The bigger picture. This ex-mention test is just one of dozens of tests women run on men constantly. Shit tests, comfort tests, compliance tests. Women are always evaluating whether you're really the high-value man you present yourself to be. And look, I'm not saying this to make you paranoid or to hate women. I'm saying this so you understand the game. Women test because they need to know if you're worth their investment. It's not malicious, it's biological. The sooner you understand that and learn to pass these tests with ease, the better your relationships will be. The men who struggle in relationships are the ones who either don't realize they're being tested or who resent being tested. The men who thrive understand that tests are part of the dynamic and they pass them without even thinking about it, because they genuinely are high. So next time your girl mentions her ex, don't panic. Don't get jealous. Don't try to compete. Just acknowledge it, stay in your frame, and move on with your day. Because you're a high-value man who isn't threatened by the men who came before you. And if you're not there yet, fake it until you make it. Eventually, the confidence becomes real.